Hello, hello, everybody. So, are we all ready, all set to start our session this Monday? We are going to do our usual getting into the heart first before setting our intentions for the week. So, before we start, I always like to give myself a little stretch, so feel free to join me if you feel like it. So stretching some limbs, the ones you prefer. And we can always start to, even doing this simple stretch, taking advantage of doing that to start becoming more present to our body. So even closing our eyes and really feeling all of the sensations of our body moving in whatever movement we choose to do to stretch ourselves and relax before the session. And from these movements that you're choosing, then allow yourself to morph into a more still position, but still an awareness on the body and an awareness of the weight of your body wherever you are sitting. And from noticing the weight of your whole body, then shift your awareness into your feet and notice the weight of your feet on the floor. And as your feet are on the floor, if you wish, you can press them a little bit more into the ground to feel your connection with the floor a little bit better. And either imagine or visualize or just intend that you're grounding yourself. As you're doing this, you're grounding yourself, your energy into the earth. You're anchoring yourself into the earth. And then once you've done that, we're going to shift our awareness one more time, and this time bring it in our hearts, in the center of our chest. And here we're going to connect with our hearts. And to do that, if it helps, you can put a hand over your heart. You can even press your hand on your chest to feel this connection even more. Feel the points of contact between your hand and your heart underneath. And see if maybe that changes or helps to feel the sensations of your heart beating in your chest underneath. You might feel, or you might even hear, in a weird way, the sounds of your heart beating in your chest. And sometimes having our hand over the heart, right in the middle of the chest in there, sometimes it makes these sensations a little bit more obvious or a little bit different. So you can play with that. We tend to always do these sessions the same way. So maybe sometimes if you want to experiment with something a tiny bit different, feel free. And once you start really experiencing, noticing, sensing your heart, so experiencing that connection, then you can start to imagine or visualize as if your breath is flowing in and out through your heart. You don't need to change how you breathe. You're still breathing naturally through your nose, with all of your abdomen expanding and contracting. But you can visualize or imagine as if your breath is flowing in and out through the heart. And that will help us to keep our awareness in there, in the heart. And as you do this, gently start to breathe a little bit slower and deeper than you usually do. And finding a rhythm that's steady, that is regular, and that's comfortable for you. An easy rhythm, easy, comfortable, regular rhythm for your breathing. And we'll do that for a good 2 minutes together in silence, and then I'll let us know when we're moving to the next step. And now from this lovely, peaceful state, let's first remind yourself of the direction that you're aiming for in your life, whether it's the vision that you have for your life in general, or maybe some goals that are short term, things that you're working on. So just get a sense of the direction that you want to have at the moment. And now we're gonna imagine that we are able to turn towards the recent past, and we're gonna compare what happened last week, and if last week and the weeks before bring us on the right trajectory to hit our goals. So if you want to, you can imagine as if you're able to float above your timeline, as if you're able to elevate yourself and look at everything that happened last week from a bird's eye view. And from there, just notice everything that is already working well, and also things that are not working as well as you hope for. So we want to have a bird's eye view on just last week, and just noticing what's working and what's not working. What's working can be everything that you enjoy, that you want more of in your life, and in any area of life that is important to you. And And in the category of the things that don't work as well as you want, think of those are things that you'd rather change or let go of. Not things that are bad, just things that need to change. So look at everything that's already working well, and then everything that you'd rather change. So in any area of life that is important to you, what's already working, what's not working enough to your taste. Also consider the difference between results and outcomes, whether you achieve them or not, and the journey and the process that takes you to the outcomes. Sometimes the journey is unpleasant, but it leads to the outcomes that we want. And sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes we don't get what we want in the end, but the journey was very pleasant or valuable or full of learning. So just notice the two. And make sure that you're not throwing away anything just because the outcome wasn't the one you wanted. We can still keep the process as something that works well, and just maybe the outcome might be different next time around. So let's do that for another minute. Observe what works, what doesn't work. And now let's just finish this part of our reflection with that question. If last week or a version of it was to repeat itself into the future, is it actually bringing us closer to the goals that we have or the vision that we have for our life? Or is it off track? And if it's off track, is it a little bit off or a lot off track? And sometimes it might even be on track, but it might be very slow or slower than you would like. Or it might be just stationary, not moving at all. So just notice all of this. And also sometimes it might be off track, but maybe the trajectory is still one that is interesting and pleasant and where you're learning a lot. So one thing to maybe consider is if you appear to be off track from the goals that you said you wanted at the start, but yet you're on an interesting trajectory, maybe one thing to consider later is, what if you're staying on that trajectory? And where would you be then in a while? And does it mean that maybe the goals that you said you wanted at the start, maybe they might or they might not be some that are as important as you thought, or maybe it's the goals that are worth investigating and maybe changing. So let's keep that in mind, that just because we're off track now on our trajectory, what is most important? Maybe it's our goals that we might want to readjust as well. So maybe let's use this as a way to reflect as well on the visions that we have for ourselves. So keep that in mind to reflect on later. You might not have an answer for just now, but just notice. And then once we've done all of this, we're gonna start to envision or imagine a version of this week that is starting today that would be as productive and fulfilling as possible. So again, now let's invite our imagination to play with us and imagine a version of this week that is really going to work for us the way that we would want it to work. Starting by imagining ourselves at our best when we have great ideas and we're in creative moods, when we're feeling inspired, when we take action and make decisions with ease. So when we're at our best, then let's imagine what our week looks like and feels like and even sounds like. What are we making happen? When we're the best we can be, what happens? How does our week unfold? So looking at, imagining everything we'd be able to create, to generate, all our ideas, decisions, actions, connections. And then as we're obviously not on our own, maybe let's get a sense of how we are impacting the people around us when we're at our best, and start to imagine a wave of positive, fulfilling, happy, productive energy, the one that we're generating, how it can possibly ripple through everyone around us and what it creates, not only for us, but for others and through others. So looking at, imagining this energy from us to other people, whether it's our loved ones that we spend our life and our time with, but also people that we don't know so well, whether our co-workers, people we meet in the shops, or even strangers we meet in the street. When we're at our best and we emanate such a different energy, how is that energy rippling through everyone around? And just allow our imagination to visualize this flow of energy moving from people to people, as if it's contagious and we're impacting people positively, and those people impact other people positively, and this ripples far and wide into the world in ways that we can't even track. So just imagine this wave of positivity that you're generating and how it spreads out and gets even stronger and stronger as it spreads into the world. And now we can start imagining how this positive wave is coming back to us and to our loved ones in ways that might be totally unexpected and even random in terms of possibilities and opportunities. What is possibly entering your experience as good news, interesting opportunities, doors that open. What does your week look like and sounds like and feels like when you're on the receiving end of such opportunities? So allow yourself to dream big and being creative. What might be happening? What consequences, what rewards are you reaping from the positive energy that you are sending into the world? So there might be, some of these things might be obvious, and some of them might be really just imagining surprises, unexpected opportunities coming your way. So have fun, allow yourself to imagine. And it might look very unexpected, but it's a consequence somehow of a wave of generous positivity that you've been sharing into the world yourself. That wave has gone far and wide, and it's circling back. It has gathered momentum, it has gathered layers of possibilities along the way, and the possibilities are coming back in an unexpected way into your life. And you might Imagine how they come back into your life, but also how it flows into the people that you love, into their lives as well, how it's creating a flow for everybody, a win-win, multiple win-wins, where you benefit, everyone else benefits, and vice versa. And after you've done that, we're going to set up an intention that we are willing to imagine also beyond the boundaries of our own imagination. We are willing to receive in our experience possibilities that we might not even be able to fathom just now. Because yes, our imagination is able to imagine what we already know, but there is so much more out there that's possible, that we want to open ourselves to receiving even beyond what we know currently. So that way we are opening ourselves to receiving more and better, and maybe things that are even more aligned with ourselves. And we're also detaching ourselves from knowing what things will look like. So we are giving the universe more leeway to help us get to our vision in ways that are more creative than we can be right now. So we are giving some freedom. We're giving ourselves and the universe freedom to help us. And so just set that intention. You're willing to experience in your life things that you don't know yet what they might look like or sound like or feel like. You're open for the unknown, as long as it's aligned and you're trusting that it will be. And now, once we've done that, let's just notice how we're feeling. We've just imagined best possible scenarios. We've opened ourselves to even more than those. So how does it feel? And let's nurture, let's expand on these sensations. So you might be familiar with these sensations, these feelings, or they might just be, you feel them in your body, you don't quite know, you couldn't put a name to it, but you feel it. And so let's imagine that these sensations, these emotions or feelings are flowing in and out through your heart with each of your breaths. Every time you breathe in, these sensations flood your own body. You're filling up your tank with them. You're filling them with more intensity. And every time you breathe out, you're radiating them out into the space in front of you, to the space around you. So with each cycle of breath, the sensations get stronger within yourself, and you're radiating them out further outside of yourself. And with each cycle of breath, it becomes more and more powerful. It's as if you're building a bubble and you're feeling yourself expanded and radiating out a vibe beyond yourself. With each cycle of breath, you're feeling these sensations with more and more intensity, and you're radiating them out with such power that now they're becoming so powerful that it's as if they're shooting out from your heart like a laser beam. And you're noticing that you can control this laser beam, and that this laser beam is now carving out, you're able to carve out right in front of you a doorway, a pathway, a portal. So imagine as if you're drawing a portal in front of you, and you know that on the other side of this portal is a new version of the week that is starting today. It's a new version of reality, of your timeline, and you're getting ready to step into it. So in your mind's eyes, just imagine as if you're standing up and walking towards this portal, putting one foot forward and the other one through, and that's it. You're now standing on the other side of the portal. And as you just stepped in, it's as if the portal has closed itself down behind you, and with it, the pathway from the past is gone. There is no choice but to step in onto this new version of reality. So now just take some deep, slow breath, enjoying connecting with this new version of life, a version of your timeline where you have access to all possibilities, all the possibilities that you imagined and the one that you opened yourself to. So as you breathe in, you can feel or imagine that you're connecting all parts of your body, all of your cells are connecting with these new possibilities, these new connections. And on your out breath, just imagine breathing out gratitude or trust. Trust that you're now on a path that is best for you and your loved ones, best for everybody. Breathe in, connect with possibilities, and breathe out with trust and gratitude. And now we're going to create a little anchor that we'll be able to use at any moment during the week to remind ourselves of this new version of our life that we're on. And to do that is very easy. Just bring your thumb and index finger of one hand together and just notice the sensations between your finger and press your fingers together so that you can feel that pressure. And now do it with the fingers of the other hand. Thumb and index finger together, pressing your fingers and noticing that point of pressure. And now do it with both hands together simultaneously. And trying to find a point of pressure that is exactly the same on the right and the left. And as you focus your attention on finding an equal pressure on both sides, it means that your mind has now no choice but to be 100% present and 100% accepting this new version of reality. As you find that point of pressure, your mind is 100% present. So it means that it has no choice but to release the grip of the past and anything that could possibly distract you from this new version of reality that you're on. As you find that point of pressure, your mind is 100% present and just anchors fully into this new version of reality. So now you can release your fingers, and if you want, you can press them together one more time just to practice how easy it is just pressing your fingers together, finding that point of equal pressure between the right and the left, and that as soon as you do this, your mind gets back 100% present on this new timeline. That's all it takes. And once you've done it again, you can now release it fully. And just remember that you can use this at any time during the week to remind yourself of the version of reality that you're on. And now we're going to bring ourselves back in this new here and now. And to do that, let's rub our hands together until they're warm and place them at the top of our head. And from there, let's touch our body as if we want to remind ourselves of the boundaries of our body, starting with our head, neck and shoulders, down our arms, and then the front of our body, from shoulders, torso, abdomen, the sides of our body from under the armpit all the way down to the hips, and then as much as we can all the way along our spine at the back, and then from hips to thighs, knees, legs, and feet. And here, if you cannot touch your feet, it's fine. Just press your feet into the floor and just setting that intention to ground yourself again into the earth. And maybe even sending a few thanks, a few waves of gratitude to the earth for allowing our existence onto this plane. And once you've done all of this, you're ready to open your eyes whenever you feel. And have a great week. Enjoy having a beautiful week, and I shall see you next Monday. Bye, everybody.